What's good, about your boy Demon and Neeyooo here. Today we're about to actually do a reaction to I was attacked by a psycho in the alleyway. Now this is another YC production, and yeah, y'all know about today being the first day of October. Halloween's only like maybe what 30 days away now. Oh, 29 days away. So yeah, but I figure we're gonna see what's popping with this. So without further ado, let's get it. Let's go. Oh, sorry for the raspiness in my voice. You know, I'm dealing with a little bit of cold.
This fact happened when I was 15 years old, beginning of last year, 2018, when I finally got to sophomore year here in Brazil.
This is Brazil.
It was an ordinary Friday night. Suddenly, I felt a little bit hungry, so I decided to put on some clothes and go to the snack bar. It was barely 10 minutes from my house. I usually pass through the alley to go to the snack bar, but that time, everything was so creepy in there. When I was halfway there, it was dark, empty, abnormally cold and gloomy. I felt slightly intimidated, but there was nothing there that could really harm me. So I decided to just go through that alley. Then I thought, nothing's gonna happen. I kept going until I suddenly heard something weird on the other side of the alley. There was a man in there, staring at the walls in hunchback stance, grunting weirdly. I found that incredibly creepy, but I was nearly at the snack bar, so all I needed was just to get out of that alley. Walk 1 minute more and I finally would get there, instead of making it all the way home with empty hands. Thus, I decided to ignore him and pass through after all. I finally passed through him. He turned to me and stared at me with a creepy smile, which made me walk a little bit faster, trying to avoid him. Then, suddenly, I heard a grunt and quick steps behind me.
Fuck this shit, I'm out.
Run, bitch, run! Help me, Jesus! Help me, Jesus!
When I looked back, it was him. We were barely 2 feet away from each other. He had a kitchen knife in his right hand and jumped on me with amazing speed and tried to stab me. I managed to grab both of his arms before he could get me. However, since he was charging at me, he still had more energy to push me back and force me against a wall. I was terrified with all of that. I knew I would die if I didn't fight back. Back then, I was already trained in some martial arts to defend myself, but that I thought I'd never need to use that skill to defend my life until now.
Let's get ready to rumble!
Ding ding, school's in, bitch.
So, in a sudden burst of adrenaline, I managed to twist the wrist which he was holding the knife, kicking his stomach and punching him mercilessly in the face several times. In the end, his face was bleeding so much, but his body was ignoring the pain of the blows in his body and only focusing on killing me.
Whoop his ass.
Finally, I used a training that I took before to twist both of his wrists and elbows harshly at the same time, forced in 2 different directions, and kicked the backside of his leg, putting him to the ground until ultimately he could drop the knife. It wasn't easy because he was struggling and punching my back and somehow trying to jump on me. But since I had his arm under my grasp, he couldn't do much without breaking himself. I slammed his head in the concrete ground, stunning him, then kept striking his face desperately while kneeling over his arm so he wouldn't be able to react or reach his knife again. Then finally, he was out cold, bleeding a lot.
Hey, young man, you got knocked the fuck out.
You can't see me.
My knuckles were full of blood and hurt. So I got up, took his knife, throwing it far away from there, and ran away from him. I finally got to the snack bar, washed my hands in there, and did everything I had to do before going back home. But obviously, I didn't take the same path as I did before. But there were things that got much creepier. That was at the entrance of my apartment, where I heard screams coming from the other side of the street. It was the same crazy man.
No!
How the hell?
Now, seeming like he was possessed by a demon, and he was slamming his head on the iron door of my building's entrance. His face was horribly deformed and scarred from our fight. That freaked me out completely. My parents were on a trip, and the watchman of our building was on vacation.
How did he even know you
I wasn't
stayed
going to
at?
fight that man again, so I decided to rush to my girlfriend's house. When I got there, she was home alone. She looked worried because I was looking pale, and there were still some marks of the man's blood on my clothes. I explained everything to her, and we called the police to come by my building. And when they arrived, the man was still in the entrance trying to force the doors unsuccessfully. When he saw the police, he attacked them, but got quickly dominated by the cops.
What?
They explained that he was probably a crazy psycho in the streets looking for prey to rape, kill, or do anything he wanted to the person. So they sent him to a high-security mental asylum for criminals, far away from my house. I feel so lucky that I survived that day, and I'm hoping that I will never see that man again.
Okay. First off, how the hell did he know where you stayed at? Period. Like, really? Yo, second of all, why did you even go down the alley? Especially if it's that dark and it's daytime and you're going down it. No, take your normal route and go around that B. Even though it's one street over and I know it's a shortcut, but nah. But yeah, he was like gone. He just far out there, just 5 goes west gone. Wow. Yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and end it right there. I hope you enjoyed the video. Yeah, got a hell of a start for month of October. Huh? But again, keep your requests coming, keep your comments coming. Again, I also wanted y'all be sure to send me in some horror suggestions. Like I said, this is the month of Halloween, so just feel free to go ahead and stay in the spirit of that. And in the meantime, between them, I'll see you when I see y'all at your boy. Peace.